We're live. No presentation, no preparation. This is totally going to go smoothly. 100%, right? Okay, so today was a bit of chaos. We are obviously way behind schedule. I'm really sorry about that, guys. This was already ambitious. Actually, it's not a surprise that we went over time. For reference, normally when we do full workshops in CodeSeoul, one workshop is 2 hours. And that's 2 hours like nonstop. So the fact that we got as much done as we did in just the 8 hours is kind of nuts. And it makes sense that we ended up missing a couple things. But let's take some time to go over actually creating an API endpoint, okay? And kind of go through the whole stack from the API layer to the data layer, including migration, and let's get something built together. Sound good? All right, so let's burn through this. So first off, let's make sure that what we have works. So I'm going to do docker compose d. What the? Oh, docker compose up d. Sorry. Oh man, sorry. I had to restart my computer, so I had to restart Docker Desktop here.
I think the bulk of us are heading out.
Sounds good.
Alright.
All right, thanks guys. See ya. We'll try to finish up quick here. All right. All right, so we got our database up and running. All right, and if we pop over to adminer here, we can see nothing. Okay, so I'm starting with a blank project here. So I'm going to go ahead and do the first off. My virtual environment is already set up, so we're good there. Okay. What's up? Just covering the door. But yeah, otherwise, if you want to hang out, you can.
So guys, other guys are living, so that's what I'm asking.
Sorry?
Other guys are living.
Yeah.
So they're asking, do you know?
Yeah, I'm gonna. If anyone's remaining, I'll take them out to dinner after this. Yeah. So I'm going to go ahead and do my Alembic, see you, man, upgrade, Alembic upgrade to head, just like Jason had shown us earlier. Okay, so we ran our Alembic upgrade to get our product table created. Okay, this was all in the repository already, right? This already existed. And if we go back to this here, you can see we have our product table, okay? And our Alembic version table to track the migration that we did. But so far, that's nothing new, right? Everyone's familiar with that a little bit? Good? All right. So now, let's go ahead and run our API. Bro. What the hell? Yeah, remember what I said about no preparation? All right, let's try instead Python mapp. There we go. Okay, so that one worked. And now if we open that in the browser here, localhost :8000 docs. Okay, you see these endpoints that we had already defined. Okay, this is stuff that we put in the repository already. This is new to you. You may not have seen this yet, but this is code that we already wrote. You can go back through what we already wrote if you want to see how it works, but we're going to build a similar thing now, okay? So we have the database up and running. We have our database UI so we can check what's going on in the database. We have our API running, okay? I'm going to kill our API for now, but we're in a state ready for development, okay? So the requirement is we need a new order service, okay? Now, normally what we would do is we'd make the relationship between order and products, but to be perfectly honest, I'm still relatively new to Alembic, and I don't want to take too much time to kind of look it up now. So we're just going to create an order in isolation, which I know doesn't make a lot of sense, but the goal here is to walk you through the stack, not for things that actually make sense from a business perspective, okay? So first off, we can either approach it from the data layer up or from the route layer down. Okay? Because we spend a lot of time on data stuff, I'm going to go from the route layer down, okay? Also, if stuff doesn't make sense at any point, interrupt me, please, okay? So what we're going to do is in our routes, okay, we divided our thing into routes, schemas, services, models, and then database, okay? Since we're going to go from the route layer down, I'm going to create a new file under routes, and I'm going to call it orders, or order.py, okay? Now, in FastAPI, there's this idea of a router, okay? And a router and a route is talking about a URL path part. So if we look back at our API docs here, you see this /products, right? This would be localhost :80,000/products is what it would be, right? So if I were to actually run the server again, and if I were to go to localhost :80,000/products, okay? I'm getting no results because there are no products in the database. But this is what this would be the API call, okay, for this route. Okay, so a route is basically the path part, this part here, of the URL. All right, everyone got that? Great. So now, here back in our code, if we want to create a new route, first we need a router. And this is a FastAPI thing, okay? So from FastAPI, import router. Nope, from FastAPI.routing. Sorry, I don't have this quite memorized. Import. Nope, I'm going to have to look it up. Sorry. Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Router, API router. Oh, I was so close. Okay. So we can say from FastAPI, import API router. And then we can say router equals API router, and now we have a router object. Okay? Now, given that router object, we can start defining routes for our order objects. Okay? So what we can do is we can define a new asynchronous function called list. We can just call it list because it would list products, basically, right? And for now, I'm just going to leave it empty, okay, just because I want to show you the routing part of things. Now, so this function will eventually serve our list API endpoint to list orders. And what we would do is we would do router dot, let me double check here because, yeah, router dot, we would do router dot get, okay, and this defines a new route, a new URL path at root, okay? Which is just slash. So it would be localhost :8000/, okay? Does that make sense? That's if some user hits our API with just the route /, so localhost :8000/, then FastAPI would execute this list function, which currently does nothing. Okay? But we don't actually want it to be slash. We want it to be orders. So we could do /orders. We could do /orders, right? But everything in this file is going to be orders. I don't want to have to write orders all the time. So what we can do is, in our main here, we can include the router and say the prefix is orders. So what I'm going to do is in my main, I'm going to say, hey, FastAPI application, include a new router, and I'm going to call it my order router, and set the prefix to orders, or /orders, sorry. And then I can, from app routes orders, or order, sorry, import router as order router. Okay? Now to kind of to help things make a little more sense here. Okay? In our routes.order file, right? We made this router object here, okay? And it's a fast API router, okay? And then in our main fast API application, we're saying, hey, include this router that we made, okay? We're going to import it from app_routes router, or app_routes order, okay? So that's this file. And we're going to import this router object, this one here, but I'm going to rename it as order router, okay? So that's how that all gets connected together. And then I'm going to say every route that's defined on that router, go ahead and prefix it with /orders. So what this route really becomes is /orders/. Okay? Because everything on this router is getting prefixed with /orders. Does that make sense? Cool. So now we've got the main stuff set up. We don't have to worry about that anymore. So wait, there's one more thing I'm missing. Where is it? There it is. Another thing we can do is we can say, hey, let's set any routes on this router with the tags of orders. Okay? And that's going to basically create a category called orders for our documentation. Okay? So for this now, with just this code, if I go ahead and I rerun our API server, and you guys can be following along with this, okay? If I reload my API docs here, you'll see this new orders category, okay? And that's because of this tag right here. And then you'll see this /orders function, okay? And the description is list because that's just the name of the method. Okay? Does that make sense so far? Good? Cool. So now, if we look at these other endpoints, you'll see we get a nice description of the kind of data it can return. This is FastAPI's automated documentation, right? But how does it know to do this? Okay? When we're doing REST API design, we normally call the input and output of various endpoints, we often call them schemas. Or if you're in Java world, you can call it a data transfer object. Okay? So what we did was we created a schemas module, and we can create an order file in here. Okay, so we can do order.py. And we also created this list response stuff, right? So we created a base list response. So what we can do is, first off, we can make an order list item. Okay, so an order that should show up in a list. And I don't think I have, sorry, I'm just checking things here as a reference because I don't have this all memorized. Oops. Ah. Yeah, okay. And our order list item, that'll have an ID. That's going to be an integer. It will have, I don't know, what else do you have in an order? It'll have a customer name, which can be a string. It can have an address, which is also a string. And then it can have contents. And I'm just going to make that a list of strings for now. Wait, a list of string? Is that how that works in the new version? Nope, that's not it. There we go. I can just say, I'm just doing a list of strings for now. Normally, you would actually have that as a list of other products, but I don't want to mess with that right now. I'm trying to keep it simple, okay? And then we can say, let's make a class of order list. And I'm going to base it on my base list response, which I've defined over here. Okay, my base list response. Okay. And in that base list response, the results, is it results plural? Sorry, I have to check. Yeah. Is going to be a list of order list item. And I have to import this guy, so let's do that. There we go. And I have an extra parentheses there. Let's get rid of that. Great. Okay. So in VS Code, if you have like a squiggly line below something, if you want to see what the tip is, you do Control dot, and that will bring up the context menu for whatever it is you want to do. By default, on Mac it's Command dot, on Windows it's Control dot. So now we have this kind of data structure for the type of data we want to be a response of this list endpoint. So now, if we go here and we said the output of this list function is going to be an order list, and I can go ahead and import that, Control dot, and I can add that import. Okay, now, if I restart my API server, ooh, I made a mistake. Let's see, where's the actual error here? Unable to generate set, yep. Arbitrary types true? What are you talking about? We mean, what? No. Hold up, let me see how I did this elsewhere. Yeah, I thought that's what I did. Hold up. Yeah, that looks the same. What's the problem? I wonder if it's this one. Let me try this, because this is the only thing that's really different. Nope, that's not it. Sorry guys, give me a second. You see, this is why you should really prepare stuff in advance. What do we got? Product list response. And, yep, product list response, base list response. This is order. Oh, order list. Ah! This should be order list response, really. But yeah, I'm still not getting why we're getting this error. Unable to generate schema for class order list item. Okay, so there's specifically an issue with this one. Line 513. Unable to generate schema order list item. That's weird. It's very weird. Okay. Let's try this. Oh, what the hell? Come on. I'm sorry, guys. Give me a second here. Ah! I know what my problem is. Because we're doing pydantic things, all of our objects must inherit from the pydantic base model. Okay? So make sure that all of your schemas, they inherit from the pydantic base model class. Otherwise, it's going to be like, what the hell is this? This is just a random class. I don't know what you want me to do. Okay? So I added this import for order list item to inherit from base model, and now it should work. Okay, so now we define these types. Okay, so we have an order list response, which is based on a base list response. Base list response has results, next, and previous. Okay, and I'm overriding the results to not just be a generic list, but to be a list of order list items. Okay. And then each order list item has an ID, a customer name, an address, and a contents. All right? So now, if we go to our API docs, and we refresh, and we look at our orders list, now we see our response has a results, it has a next and a previous, and then in the results it has the ID, customer name, address, and contents. Does that make sense? So by defining our types here, and then saying that our router function returns that type, FastAPI will automatically document it, and it will also protect you. If I try to return something that's not that type, and I try to run this, it gives me an error. Because it's like, hey, you said that the input should be something like this, but you gave me 0. You messed up. This is actually a way to protect you, because when you test your stuff, you should make sure that you output some object that matches this response, because that's how the API, that's kind of the contract the API is setting with any client. Okay? So if your output doesn't match this type, Fast API is going to be like, no, you're messing up. You want to make sure that you do what you say you're going to do. Okay? Does that make sense? Questions? Which one? This one?
When we declare parameter for class, we should use this case, not snake case or customer name.
So this is not a parameter of the class.
No, not that.
This one?
Customer name. Customer name.
Ah.
Yeah.
So this is the Python way of doing things. In Python, we use snake case. There is a way to, you can do, if you want to have the customer name in your Python code like that, but you want your API attribute to be different, you can set it to field, and you can say, I believe this is a pedantic field, and you can say the name, I believe. Let me grab it here. The default alias, I believe, is what we want. Yeah, I think we want alias. So what we can do, is we do ... to say just, I don't want a default value. And then we can say alias is customer name like this. And now, I have to restart the server. There is a way to do hot reload, I just didn't bother to set it up. You see, customer name is now Pascal case, or camel case. Does that make sense? Yeah. So if you want to kind of rename stuff, you can use the pedantic field as the default value. And you can set the alias to whatever the hell you want, and that'll rename it at the API layer. But then internally in Python, you can still use whatever this name is. That's if your consumer expects your casing to be different or expects your names to be different, this is how you can do that. Does that make sense? Good question. Going to wait a second for people to catch up. And then we're going to run through the rest of the stuff quickly because I don't want to spend too much time on this, and this was the key part. Okay? So now, actually I'm going to skip this one for now. Because all this rest of the stuff down the stack you've already learned. I still want to tie it all together for you, but I want to cover another case for the routing side of things. So let's say that I want to create an order, right? We can do an order post, and this would also be, or this would be get orders, right? And this would be post orders. And then we can say async def create, not def, thank you. And we're going to return an order detail. Okay, I'm just going to pass for now. And then we're going to do something like this. Class order detail response. Sorry, I should probably be consistent here. There we go. And that's going to be a base model. And this is basically going to be the same as this. Okay. Now, normally these would actually be a little bit different because when you're doing a listing, you don't want to include all of the details, but in the kind of individual version, you want to have everything, right? That's normally how you do proper API design, but these are tiny objects and I'm just trying to go fast. So please have that understanding. So now we're going to do this. There we go. So that's the response. You learned that already. But I need to specify what data I expect for my API to receive to create a new order. So we're going to define another schema. Class order. Whoa, hello, caps lock. Class order. Order create request. And as usual, we're going to inherit from the fast API or from the Pydantic base model. And in this case, we don't want the ID. Okay? Because, you know, the server decides the ID, not the client. So we can define this here. Okay? And then we say new order data is this order create request. Order create request type. All right, has everyone got that down? I'm going to give people a minute to catch up on their typing. Is anyone confused right now? What does it mean?
What does that mean? Yeah, I don't know.
I'm going to show you in a second.
I'm not familiar with Python.
Sorry?
I'm not familiar with Python syntax.
What? So this, for those of you less familiar with Python,
No, they're just pass.
pass. Oh, in Python, pass basically means like do nothing.
Like void.
Huh?
Like void.
I'm not familiar with like what now?
Wait.
Wait.
Like nothing. Like nothing.
Void. Yeah, kind of. So not like a Java void, because void it means the absence of data, but different from null. Basically means that there's no return type. In this case, we're saying don't do anything. We're saying
Just like a return. Just like
it's basically a way. So in Python, you could just do this, but because the colon, that would be a syntax error. Because the colon expects there to be a new line, and then some indentation, and then some logic. So this is a way to say like, hey, don't be a syntax error. There's nothing here. Yeah, that's all it is. So now, you know, you understood the return type stuff, but by defining this, this parameter, and by giving it this type hint, now when we look at the API, we have this new create endpoint. That's not a surprise, right? Because that's what we did with this right here, this router.post, okay? But now you see it has this expected request body. This request body is based on this variable right here. Okay? Does that make sense? So by defining that we're going to have some parameter and giving it this type, which is a Pydantic base model, Pydantic and FastAPI work together to parse out the contents of that base model and then generate the API documentation. Okay? Now, the nice part too is if a client tries to give you junk instead of that proper data, FastAPI will give a helpful error. A 422 says, hey, the data you just gave me doesn't make sense. Okay? Even if we give it valid JSON, right? So we can, if we say something like, you know, unknown field is null, right? It'll be like, hey, you're missing the customer name in the body, and it's a required field. You're missing the address in the body, and that's a required field, right? FastAPI will automatically generate helpful errors for your clients if they don't match the expectation that you set for the API endpoint. Does that make sense? Great. So now, I want to show you one more example regarding the routing stuff. We're going to do router.get again, but this time, we're going to get a specific ID. So this is going to be something like get orders / some ID. Okay? And this is going to be async def get detail, right? And this is going to take in an ID as an integer, and it's going to output an order detail response. And then we're going to pass. So this one here lists a bunch of orders. This one is going to get a single order's details based on that order's ID. In FastAPI, when you do this router definition, if you put something in these curly brackets, that's what we call a path parameter. Okay? And that path parameter is saying that the value that's here is variable, and we should treat it as a variable. And the variable's name is going to be whatever is here. And then if we have a matching parameter here, FastAPI won't interpret it as a request body. It'll catch that these two things match, and it'll treat it as a path parameter. So what we can do here is we can say, we can print, the ID received, ID. Okay? And I'm just going to use that to demonstrate. Actually, yeah, that should be fine. So everyone good on catching up with this for typing? You okay? All right, great. We're just gonna burn through the rest of it, so we're almost done.
Why does this return 0 instead of pass?
Because I'm being lazy. Yeah, I'm just trying to go fast. This would actually be an error if you tried to run this endpoint. Then again, pass would be too. I'm just trying to show you this stuff before we actually get something that's properly working. I'm just showing you how the routing works for now. So, but good question. So now if I refresh this, oh wait, no, I have to restart the server because I never set up hot reload. Past me, should have worked a little harder. Okay, so we have this get detail endpoint. You see this ID in brackets. And now you see this ID is a parameter here. Okay? And if we do, 9001, because it's over 9000, and we run this, we get an error because we're not outputting this order detail response. But if we look in our logs here, oh man, are you kidding me? Yeah, there we go. ID received 9001. And if we look at the request we got, this was the request we received, the /orders/9001. And then FastAPI took that /something after orders, recognized that it was an integer, and therefore matched it to this ID, and then set this parameter to that ID that was in the path, and then we can just use it in our function. Does that make sense? This is magic-y. This is some of FastAPI's magic, right? There's a whole bunch of hidden logic to make all of that work, right? But in this case, you don't need to understand that logic. You just need to understand its behavior, okay? And the behavior is when you have a route and when there's curly brackets with something inside those curly brackets, that something inside is treated as a variable. If this name here matches this name here, whatever this is going to be set into this variable. So because we passed in /orders/9001, ID gets set to 9001 and is passed as a parameter here. And then we can use that parameter in our function. And so that's why this ID was set to 9001. Does that make sense? Cool. So now, let's hook it up to everything else. Okay? So let's go ahead and create. So that's all the new stuff. The rest is just practice. So now we're going to create an orders service, an order service, order.py. Now I'm basically just going to reference my product.py again. And we're going to create a product service. That product service is going to, I'm going to do it the old way. I'm not going to do it Jason's way. To be clear, Jason's way is a little bit better. But I'm doing it the old way because I'm trying to go fast and I don't have time to figure out Jason's way. So we're going to do def init. Actually, we can just copy this. And then we're going to do a bunch of imports. Oh, yeah, thank you. That's a very good point. Thank you. And then what's for some reason the import is not working properly, so we're just going to do this. And then we're going to do this. Okay, so we're creating a new order service. We have our database connection method that we wrote. This creates our database connection. It uses SQL Alchemy to create an asynchronous database engine. And then we set that up as a database connection. And then we provide that database connection to our services. And we take that as dependency injection using FastAPI's depends method. And we just set it as the DB object on the order service. And then we can go forth and we can define our create service. I'm just going to copy and paste this. And we're going to do an order create request. What do I call it? Order create. I think I called it order create request. I don't know. Yeah, I did. Great. And it's going to output an order detail response. Great. And we're not going to do the product table. We're going to do the order table, even though we haven't made it yet. And it's not going to be in order. It's not going to be a product. It's going to be an order. So when you do this kind of stuff, guys, you have to be really careful to not let the copy paste get you. And don't miss your imports either. Okay, so we're just copying all this stuff. Yep, that's fine. And we're going to do this order detail response. Cool. So now, the problem is we don't have our order table. Okay, so let's go ahead and make that. In our model here, models, we're going to create a new file. Not a Java file, what? Okay, order.py. Okay, and we can close all this stuff. But I do want to pull up this one as a quick reference. Yeah, we do that. Okay, so we're going to do this. Okay, except these don't make sense anymore. And what did we say was in an order? We said there was an ID. We said there was. What else did we say there was? ID, customer name, address, contents. So this is a list of strings. Oh, that's going to be bad. Yeah, FastAPI or Pydantic and all that are going to complain about this. Yeah, it's fine. It's fine. What could possibly go wrong besides everything? Metadata, how did we do that? We did that from, we imported that from somewhere, right? Yeah. No. That's wrong. What the hell? Where did we define metadata? Is it here? No. Is it here? No. Models. Here? There it is. Okay, so from... There we go. And then this is import SQL Alchemy as SA. There we go. Okay, great. And then we're creating our order table. We also need to call it order table. And, you know, we have our customer name, we have our address, and we have our contents. I have no idea how contents is going to work out, but we're going to see what happens. It'll be great. Yeah, that all looks fine. Except, you know, an address for an order should not be nullable. There we go. Okay, so it's not a perfect representation of an order, but it's good enough. I'll give everyone a minute to catch up on this, if you want to. Oh, and then let's also import this order table now. So that's why we did this in the first place. Really? You really gonna do me like that? VS Code, what are you doing to me, bud? People throw me a signal when you got caught up with this, or if you're not following. Got a couple people still look like they're typing, so we'll just wait a minute here.
What kind of extension do you use for Python syntax? I use just default Python, but there is no any hints and text is highlighted in different way.
Oh, really? Oh. No, I think I'm using the default one. Am I using Pylance? I'm using Pylance. Yeah, I didn't install anything special. I don't know, man. I didn't bother to configure Visual Studio. I came from PyCharm. Like, I hate Visual Studio Code. It's not my thing, but everyone else uses it, so I have to use it because I demonstrate for people. And I'm not going to make people install PyCharm because it is really heavy. Granted, Visual Studio is starting to get pretty heavy too, but you know. As for why stuff's different, maybe it's because I installed this a long time ago, and maybe it just preserved my settings through the updates, or preserved the old version of the settings from the updates. I'm guessing. I don't actually know. All right, so is everyone good now? Cool. So now what we can do is for our create method here, because that was the first one I happened to create, we can take our order service and we can say the type is, order service, right? Let's import that. And then we can say the default is the depends on order service. And what will happen is Fast API's dependency injection engine will go ahead and create the order service instance for us and inject it as a parameter automatically anytime this is called. And if the order service has any dependencies, it'll resolve those too. Okay, this is based on what we talked about in Jason's session at the end of today. Okay. So I just added this part here. Making sure people are done typing. Huh?
We stayed back.
Stayed back? Okay. I'm sorry, I'm going too fast because I'm trying to get us out of here. And then we can do order service dot create with our new order data. And we need to await that. And we can do the result is this. And then, as I recall, the result type should be, oh, no, we awaited it. So what is the type of this now? Order detail response, which is what we're expecting. We can now just return that directly. There we go. Because the order service is what should be handling all the logic, right? Our route function here should only be concerned with defining the route properly, defining our input properly, and our output, okay? The rest of the actual logic should be in the service, okay? Your services should be your big, heavy classes with all of your business logic. Everything else should be really simple. Because all the other stuff, remember in the first day, how we were talking about, wow, that was only yesterday. Wow. Okay. In the first day, we talked about how the business logic is the important part, and everything else is just to make shit work, right? The same idea holds here. Your router file should be stupidly simple. Your schemas file should be simple. Your model should be pretty simple too. Your service file, oh boy, that's gonna be a long one, because that's where all of your logic should be for, you know, oh, we should handle an order like this, but if the order is over like Men1, we should have like free delivery. And, you know, if someone hasn't said their credit card yet, they need to like go back and do that. Or if their email is not verified, we should throw an error and say they need to verify their email. All of these kinds of rules should be in your service layer. Okay, it should be in this order service here. Okay, so you can expect your services to be the big giant things. Does that make sense? Cool. So your route files should be pretty simple like this. All right, so now what we can do is if we restart our server, God, I hope it works. Holy crap, it worked. Okay. And we refresh. Granted, we didn't really need to refresh because we didn't change the interface at all. Or, yeah, we didn't really change the interface at all. Now, I don't 100% know if this is going to work because I don't know how it's going to handle the contents list because that doesn't make sense. But let's try it and see what happens. So I'm going to be the first customer because that's a right I'll reserve because I'm writing this shit. The best place is where I live. Not really. It's Yongin, which is cool, but it's too far away. Contents, I'm going to order a green shirt. Not short, green shirt. What do we say? Green shirt, purple shirt, and someone had suggested yellow shirt, right? Okay, I'm going to order these shirts. And let's see if it explodes. Yeah, it exploded. All right. Undefined table error. Oh, our order table doesn't exist. Right? Does anyone know why? Because we didn't create it. Absolutely right. So what do we got to do? We have to alembic. I don't remember how, so we're going to do alembic dash dash help. And what's it going to show us? We're going to do alembic revision. All right, alembic revision dash dash help. Message. The message string. Auto generate. SQL. Splice. Branch label. Revision. The message is probably what I want. Okay. Revision. Message. Create order table. Great. So now we go up to alembic. We have our new orders thing. We're just going to go ahead and copy this. Or we're going to do something like this. Maybe. I don't know. I don't know what the hell I'm doing. Let's check our old thing. Hey, it looks very similar. Except it's create table. So we're going to do op create table. Great. Also, we should probably have an index on that. So let's go ahead and oh, hey, it's already indexed. Good. And yeah, I think we're good. Normally, you also want these created at and updated at columns. Let's actually go ahead and do that. You want that because when you're trying to troubleshoot problems later, that's going to be really helpful. Try to always have created at and updated at on every table, because it makes troubleshooting much easier later on. And then we can just have our drop table thing. Whoa. Drop our order table. All good? Give people a couple seconds to catch up. Good. All right, so now I'm going to do alembic head upgrade. Hopefully it works. Let's find out. Get wrecked. Oh, I should probably give the right command. Upgrade head. Oh, great, it worked. That's surprising. Okay, now let's actually try to run the server. And let's try running this guy again. Yeah, no, that's expected. What's wrong? Invalid input for query argument. Expected string got list? What are you talking about? I said that a create request takes in a list of strings, sir. But the model is just a string. So, sorry guys, this it didn't make sense in the first place anyway. I'm going to change contents to a string just to force this to work, because that was a terrible idea in the first place. Oh my god, what is typing? Okay, I want to do something like this. God, this is terrible. Okay, good enough. So yeah, we change that. I'm just going to change all these places. Okay, and then over in our model too. Yeah, we made it a string in our model, so that's fine. All right, try again. Here we go, and let's run it. Yeah, okay. Next. What do we got? Validation error for order response. Customer name. Field required customer name? Oh. So we set this field alias here, but we only set it in that one spot. So let's go ahead and do that everywhere. Oh wait, we did it everywhere. What the hell? Crap, how did we do this again? But it's in the create. It's in the create request. So why is it not? Customer name is missing. Customer name is right there. What is le problem? Validation alias, maybe? Yeah, that's what I did. Allow population by field name. Let's try that, I guess. Okay. That's annoying, but let's try it. Oh, wait. I know why this happened. We didn't do it here. Yeah, we didn't do it here. That's the problem. I think. Let's try it. What was that? Ooh, thank you. Good catch. Thank you. Trying again. Same problem. Okay, so let's try this then. But is that at the... Yeah. Yeah. So, like this, right?
Let's try to use not in camel case, but just make it connected in your request.
But let's say that our client wants to use camel case. We should be able to support that, right? Okay, no. Yeah, sorry guys. I'm not gonna mess with this for now. There is a way to do it. I just don't remember off the top of my head, and I'm trying to go fast. So, sorry. We're gonna ditch this aliasing thing. There is a way to do it. I just don't. Whoa. I just don't remember the way to do it off the top of my head. It's been a while. Normally, you build up kind of a library of kind of snippets that you use, and you just reference those, but I don't have those available to me right now, so we're just going to run with it. And let's do this here. Okay, great. Here we go. Okay. What? Wait, did I not restart the server? What trickery is this? Okay, let's search the whole project. What is even happening? Did I not restart it?
Maybe you have to do the Alembic again, maybe, because you
No, because at the database layer, it should be fine. No? Oh, hey guys. Hey guys. I didn't save it. There we go. Okay. Yay. All right, so we created our new resource. Okay. And because our output is of, if we look at this, the output is an order detail response. And because our route layer expects an order detail response, everything is good. Okay? Now, I'm not going to go ahead and flesh all these out right now because it's almost 7 o'clock. You guys need to eat. But hopefully this gives you an idea of the API layer. If you combine this with what you learned from JSON, then you should be good to go to build your full backend. Now, the product service is complete. So you can reference how that works, okay? So you can reference that online. And then later tonight, I'll finish this order service for you guys. And I'll also try to hook it up to the product service so you can see how relationships work as well. I'll try to do that tonight, depending on how I'm feeling. Yesterday I was still quite sick, but today I'm feeling way better. So let's see how that goes. Or not quite sick, mostly recovering from being sick, but yeah. Cool. Any questions before we end? Yes, tell me.
About naming of files.
Yes.
We have roads order, schemas order, and everywhere is just order.
Yes.
Why don't you use something like order model, like order server?
You could do that. So for the benefit of the stream, the question was, in our models, it's just called order. In our routes, it's just called order. Wouldn't it be better to call it order model, order route? You could. It's just a matter of personal preference, or rather what the team prefers. I just let the path handle that for me, so it's order in the routes directory, order in the schemas directory, order in the services directly. So that's good enough for me. But however you prefer it, or however your team prefers it, yeah, it's fine. It's just a matter of preference and convention. Does that make sense? Cool. Any other questions? Awesome. Well, I hope that was helpful, guys. I just wanted to make sure we didn't do anything kind of end to end, so I just wanted to make sure we had that covered. I hope this is helpful for you guys. And if you have any questions, you can always ask in our Discord. But in terms of the back-end side of things, we are done. The rest of the bootcamp is more on the DevOps side. So we go over infrastructure tomorrow, which is still useful for a back-end engineer to know. Actually, DevOps in general is useful for a back-end engineer to know generally. But infrastructure is especially important because you need to know what the hell you're deploying onto, right? So we're going to cover infrastructure tomorrow. And then Thursday is going to be DevOps stuff beyond just infrastructure, because infrastructure is technically part of DevOps, depending on how your organization is organized. And then Friday will be the crazy advanced stuff with Kubernetes. Also, I have good news. I'm going to announce it on the Discord as well. We did have capacity open up on the venue. Actually, let me double check an answer here to make sure I got my math right. Did he give me an answer? He did. So our friends at Microsoft were able to expand the room from 32 seats to 94 seats. So we should be able to accommodate everyone. So tonight I will share that announcement on Discord, and I will open up the events on Meetup and Facebook and all that again. So if you had friends that were like, oh, I really wanted to go on Friday, they can stop being angry now. And I hope that you guys can all join us on Friday. Do be aware that Friday is up at Microsoft in Jongno, near Gwanghwamun. It is quite far from here. Well, in terms of Seoul. In terms of US units, it's like a walk. But, you know. So, yeah, hope to see you guys there. But beyond that, I hope today was useful. I know it was a little bit rocky, but it seemed like people enjoyed it. But feel free to share feedback if there are things you think could have gone better. Or if you did like it or disliked it or whatever. We'd love to hear you. But beyond that, I hope you had a good time. And that concludes day 2. Thank you, guys.